Going around, one observes to the maximum the creating of joy, the consumeristic, high-tech feeding of that artificial creating of joy is a great money spinner. It works through the parents via the children, giving the children messages that they have to have such and such, and that's where joy is. I've got news for you. Joy is of a different order, and it's a strange thing. You try and chase joy, and you'll find it's running away from you. Sacrifice your attempt to get it or fabricate it, and accidentally, out of the blue, when you're doing something to create someone else's joy, you'll find an unexpected boost of joy coming out of nowhere, but from inside. Now, I want to take you for a journey today to about 3 centuries ago. It's a story which is fitting for Christmas because it happened on Christmas Day. And I heard about it quite by chance because I was involved with the monastic world. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I shall begin. Once upon a time, there was a young man who was just ordained a priest. And this is going back to the period way before any of the changes that we have known came in. And way back, until about 50 years ago, on Christmas Day, a priest would, as he still can actually, celebrate not once but 3 times, 3 separate ones: midnight, dawn and day. Separate masses in the missal. But in days of old, when there were lots and lots of priests around, and there was no concelebration, in a monastery, obviously what would happen? They would celebrate one after the other, or 3. Okay, just that's a footnote. Anyway, this young priest came along, you see, and it was his first Christmas after being ordained, and he wanted to spend Christmas in a quiet place of prayer. So he knew there was a good monastery in the middle of England, Downside Abbey. And off he went with himself and made a retreat there. And on Christmas Eve, he went up to the brother who was responsible for the sacristy and asked for, now he had to ask not just for a chalice, but also an altar. So there was lots and lots and lots of monks, lots of priests around. In fact, my parish was run by Benedictines. There were 120 in that monastery. Downside was also a big monastery. So anyway, eventually he said, look, I'm in difficulty because there are lots of priests, but I found a chalice for you, take this. And you can use that altar there just around the corner. So it was after the midnight mass, he went into this altar with his chalice, like this, covered with the veil, and off he went with himself. But there weren't enough monks for him to have a server, so he was on his own. Now, what happened? He started quietly, and then at a certain point he started to hear noises. A bit frightening. He was on his own, his little chapel, couldn't interrupt, had to carry on. Once you start, you can't stop. And what could he hear? He could hear, as though approaching, noises of a great crowd. It didn't sound nice at all, aggressive. And they were getting closer, and closer, and closer. And there he was, celebrating, but you can't stop, you have to carry on. So, eventually, it was coming to a great crescendo. He got, as far as the consecration, the elevation, and he got as far as the, when you break the host, it's called fraction, and the Agnus Dei, O Lamb of God. And until then, it was getting higher and higher and higher, great cries. And suddenly, it all stopped. A complete pause and silence. Nothing. We finished, consumed a host, and went into the second and the third celebration, one after the other. Eventually, got to bed, had a short sleep, got up, and the brother sacristan gently approached him and said, "Father, how did you get on last night?" Well, if you must know, I had an experience. Ah, tell me about it. Now, he had a twinkle in his eye because he knew something. And he, after hearing what he had to say, the story, he just calmly said to him, "Well, actually, it's like this. I was in a bit of a hurry last night. I didn't have time to explain what this chalice was that I was giving you. It's called the persecution chalice. That's why it's so tiny. Do you see the size of it? Like an egg cup. Now, do you want to know the story behind it? It's like this. This was of its size, the only one they could use during persecution. And you know, these old monasteries, these English ones, have a story, because they carried on in France and other countries, and then they came back. But they were around, the same family of monks, also when heads were rolling. Now, you were in school. What happened in 789 in France?
Were heads
Yeah, why? What was the big event starting in 789 in France?
French Revolution.
Well done! That was the fall of the, remember the building that fell in 789? Of the Bastille, heard that? That was the fall of the Bastille, that was the moment it all started. So, heads were rolling, it was the terror. And there were priests also coming to the chop. The guillotine was the great method, wasn't it? And you had these women knitting, looking at the heads rolling into the buckets. Priests were being hunted. And so were monks and religious. So, on Christmas Eve, Christmas night, there was apparently a priest in France, in Paris. He managed to get smuggled into his cell a tiny chalice, this very one, and he was celebrating illegally and secretly, with no one knowing, while executions were going on. And on Christmas night itself, they were taking one of the prisoners to the block, passing his door as he was muttering silently the sacred prayers. And at the moment of the Agnus Dei, the head rolled. So the little sacristan concluded, I thought I'd give it to you, because that happened to a priest who had just been ordained. It was his first Christmas Mass. And it is said that any priest who celebrates his first Christmas Mass with this chalice will hear it. The good Benedictine who told me that story, which is a family story within the family, it's true, it's come down, looked at my eyes indirectly and hinted. We haven't yet been able to verify whether it still happens. I wanted to do it after being ordained, conducted outside, but I couldn't because I was in Rome and for obedience. I had to minister in Rome that Christmas. So I still don't know whether if today you celebrated, it would actually still happen. But I have a feeling in my heart that it would. And I was in Downside a few years ago, and I asked about it. And they had it still, but weren't allowed to show it without the abbot's permission. So it's still there. So, my friends, think about that at midnight at Christmas. Heads rolling, and illegal celebrations, whereas now we can have them without any violence, even in our own little home chapel.